as well. Give us a good preview, okay? But let's bring in the casters to see how they're doing as well. Who we got? Oh, we got Bryce and Ton. Fellas, how you feeling? How do you guys feel about the conversation we've been having so far?
It's actually a very interesting one, kind of debating where these teams actually sit for. I always say benchmarking is very, very important when we talk about where these teams sit. This game, obvious reasons. If Atlanta FaZe lose this and then go up against Seattle Surge, could be, I think, one of the worst qualifiers we've ever seen them have, Ton. But obviously, that's all hypothetical.
It is all hypothetical. I think, the conversation that we were just having there on the desk is, for me, this one is kind of more of a level of where London are sitting. We know they've been really solid. Even if FaZe were to lose this, there's still the potential for them to go on and obviously win the event over next weekend. But I feel as if London lose this, it kind of puts them out of the conversation for the win for me in a certain respect. I know you can how much do you put into the online result in comparison to their form on LAN, though, is another thing you can talk about. There's so many different theoreticals, Pricey, when it does come down to this matchup, but it should be a good one. No theory needed behind that. Here's the maps and modes, though. Give it to a hard point for me. Specifically on this map, Pricey, not too sure on this, how it's managed to slip through. As mentioned, London lost 4 of the last 5, have not played it since Gizmo came back into the team. So that's going to be an interesting one. Because Search and Destroy, both teams have been good on it recently. Control London have been struggling, but Tuscan end the game on maps 4 and 5 could go either way as well. Honestly, looking at this map set, I only necessarily have 2 maps more or less leaning towards one team, but other than that, I think it could be really tight.
I tell you something, this game actually is very interesting to me because Atlanta FaZe, everybody loves to hate Atlanta FaZe. As soon as they show any sign of weakness, it's like, they're not as good as they could be. And that loss, obviously, last week, everybody's talking about it. On the other side of it, London, a resurgence team that we haven't seen in so long, Ton. And this is a big fight for them. If they take down Atlanta FaZe now, they become one of the top teams to everybody to look at going into the major. And that's certainly good news if you're a London fan, especially during this heat wave.
Oh yeah, 100%. It is a little bit warm in the UK at the moment. We don't have the air conditioning. We're struggling to keep up with it. But yes, for London, I think a lot of people coming into this split did not know what we were going to see from this team. But since Gizmo has found his way back into the roster, they have looked lights out. This is another challenge that is maybe just a step above the rest. Let's see how they're going to do here up against Atlanta FaZe. When it does come down to Kavutu, the records speak for themselves for FaZe. As mentioned, London losing 4 of the last 5. But when it comes to whole percentage, London slightly ahead of FaZe. FaZe very, very solid on this map. We're looking over towards P4. That's where FaZe have a lot of their success. Let's see if they can do so here up against London. It should be an absolute banger to kick off the day.
It certainly should. And into the mixer. You can already see them both heading towards P1. And it will be FaZe who get there first, but the team just posturing for positions as grenades rain down around this hill. Cellium opening up with 2, and Gizmo's going to try and hold his position, see if he can get anybody back, but it's no good.
Not able to happen that. And Zero is a man that we've talked about so many times as of recent, leading the stage in KD at the moment. Fantastic work from him, but can't have that over-reliance on him. Currently, no kills to his name and no points to London's name either, as Gizmo now pushing up through the stairs will get dealt with. My goodness me, it's a fantastic hold by Atlanta FaZe. 20 seconds to go. They could get pretty much a full hold on this one. 50 points heading over towards P2 is not the start that London would have wanted.
I managed to get 2 points here, and it's opened up boat just a little bit, but aBeZy is going to be bottom cliff, and they are hunting him down. London have got bodies into boat when they need to try and get these points back. You can see they're looking for him. Simp absolutely guns Afro down.
They keep this hold though here, London. Well, there is an answer. Gizmo, Nasty combining well. Now they have the whole side of the map locked on down. You can see one player pushing up towards the cliff side. That's going to be Gizmo finding 2. Good work from him, cutting off the head of the snake. Atlanta FaZe struggling to get much map purchase here. Ravens have answered what was a very, very good hold over towards P1 from FaZe. 30 seconds now ticking in here for Ravens. Could very well take the lead. They got the side of the map that they want heading over towards P3. Could start over towards the second hill.
Yeah, completely changed the pace under this one, and obviously you now see Atlanta FaZe basically just struggling all over the map. Zero opening up with 2 as well, and that's a 4 streak for him, going for that P1 control. And if you're an Atlanta player, you are looking to try and get up this map, but no control for them so far, and they are just running into the autos of London.
Good hold so far from London. Afro in the middle of the map, nicely done, and that is just completely flawless from inside London. May well have had a shaky start, and honestly, I was a little bit worried for them after seeing what happened to them on P1. But since then, it has been pretty much perfect hard point. Zero inside the point on a 5 spree. You would very much like to make that 7, help his team along. Keep an eye on aBeZy. He has slipped the net of London players. It's going to be spawned over towards green for some more players from FaZe. So London, it's a hard hold from here.
It is, and they're trying to hold it as well. And Zero gets his 6th.
Big.
Looking for it. I saw a player there. I don't know if Zero did. Of course he did. He's got better eyes than me, but he will be taken down by Arcitys. And now the control, Atlanta FaZe have it. London going to have this back spawn, which does mean they want to push this hard and fast. They tried not only take these players out, but then rotate for this next hill straight away. And it all comes down to judging it. You can already see a London player slipping the net. It's Zero going for these rotations.
Yeah, that kill over towards Zero. Let's see if you can find something. 8 and 3. Good way to kick things off, but just to remind you, FaZe are the #1 team on this hill. They outscore opponents by 19 points on average, which is really quite awesome, to be fair. A 44% break rate as well on top of it. The Ravens now looking to push. They do get the majority of that scrap time. We've got a very decent lead, but FaZe could very much cut that quickly here over towards P4. No break coming here for London yet. They're being patient.
They're trying to get their way through here, and they get a couple of kills, but Cellium and aBeZy get 2 back. 2 versus 2 now. Afro going in, hoping to break this deadlock as he heads towards Dark and finds 1 kill, but already that's going to be traded back and forth. And this is why it's so difficult to dig teams out of it. Those quick reinforcements, unless you can push them all the way back, as Zero tries to play the hero play, isn't going to work out. London are just not able to get enough bodies into this hill at the moment.
But they prevented FaZe from getting a whole load of points completely uncontested. Afro in and amongst the point, finds the kill. Well played. As Gizmo will find the movement there as well. Rotation starting to come in with 20 seconds remaining on the hill. Cellium going to try and take it into his own hands. And the break comes back from FaZe. But for that rotation that they had over, they were 50 points behind when we headed over. As we head over towards P5, they're going to still be around 30 or so. So that was damage limitation for the side of London. And damage has been limited quite significantly there.
And they've done a very good job there. I almost felt kind of cursed of the caster. We saw the players just instantly break it, but London is set up now, and it's going to be a little bit of a stretch here for Atlanta FaZe. They have to try and get in position to take this away. Simp may be the first man on it, but he has been seen and has been shot and goes for the chow, and Zero goes down. Absolutely no fear from Simp as he tries to move in a position to help out his teammates once again. Gizmo's already managed to get 2, slowing down the push. Simp's looking for Afro, and off the top right he'll get it, but Zero shuts him down from both. Atlanta FaZe will have the spawns.
Yeah, they will have the spawns. Really nice flip coming in there from FaZe. Slowly and methodically working their way around. Cellium starting to heat up just a little bit as well. The ARs on London have really been outperforming the guys on FaZe so far. But if Arcitys and Cellium can continue to wake up here, they will find themselves well and truly back into this game. But London trying their best to get through. Afro can find 1, but that will be it. So the setup over towards P1 is now coming in. They're just still going to be behind, but bear in mind some of the swings we've had on this one. The whole percentage very much coming on through. 80% of both, it's 81% for both teams on the whole percentage on this map. We've seen good examples of that so far. When the team gets there first, they momentarily are locking down the majority of time. So let's see if they can do so here. Once again, big gunfight from Gizmo as we head into the 10th or 15th second over towards P1.
And they're trying to break this one, and London are doing a great job to continue to hold against all of this pressure. Cellium going to try and hit the pinch here. This may prove great for them. Let's listen in on how FaZe are doing right now.
Low beach weak.
I like short rotate. I don't want shot anymore.
Hey, you got me top ring or top.
I don't want to.
Let's go in there. Use some. Get the boat.
Oh my god. Good shit. Yo, Chris, I'm going through. They shouldn't expect it.
I'm looking at the side boat. I'm looking at the side boat.
On the mid boat somewhere.
I need to boat.
Yeah, you stop boat on us.
Yo, short, nasty.
I'm laying there, stop boat.
I don't see anything. I'm
Point.
We put that. I see that. I'm on off streaks. That's not even side, Chris.
I'm looking at cages.
Yeah, we did not.
Yeah, we put it.
I went top.
Okay, I got time.
I'll see top play.
I'm trying.
Afro dead mid. One top play for something. He said top play.
I have time. I don't see any middle. I don't see any. No, behind me.
We might flip back. We're good. I pinch.
We might flip back.
He said top play.
Yeah, we might flip.
Okay, we didn't flip that.
There's 2 middle. One shot. Nasty's one shot middle.
Good shit, Chris. Where?
He was fire rock.
No,
No, it's not. Shit.
Well, and Atlanta FaZe really heating things up there, slaying London all over the map and eventually taking the lead. The pressure will now be on the London Royal Ravens. Let's find out how they are doing with a listen in.
Simp has streaks, okay? Simp has streaks.
I need a new.
Red tower. 2, go on.
I'm watching, I can't see him.
In time. Oh, she's in time, we can still on the god hoodie.
Where's he in time? Where?
In the tank, sorry.
I need
Almost got one more god. 3, just get him now.
Nice, one more team. Stay alive.
I'm trying to. What's moving?
He has streak on, Simp's beyond. Yeah, he does.
That's streak. I've been needing some die. Honestly, I'm dying. Yeah, go get some.
Simp's on Simp's beyond, I'm staying alive. One shot, sorry, I made him weak. Two. Stay down.
Get him cut. Pinch me!
Yeah, he got me. Nice.
Kill.
Go across. Simp dead. Simp one shot on you.
One shot on you.
When mid cut's open. Push out. We can time in close mid cut.
At a time.
I'm finishing boat run, I'm weighing boat.
Oh, London battling for it as well. You also heard the call come in. Simp has streaks, something they keep an eye on. And speaking of streaks, Simp is on another one. And the last chow comes in here for this. And the rotation is also going to be in for FaZe. They're in a great position, Ton.
Yeah, as soon as Simp has started to heat up, FaZe have sold themselves fantastically done. Over towards P3. Hold over towards P2 is really good as well. But can the break come in here for London when they really do need it? FaZe can find the win here. 0 with 2 though to open things up. London need to get themselves inside for at least 10 seconds here, just to mess with the fact that FaZe can win it. Over towards P4. They're trying to go through the front door as best as they can. Nasty and Gizmo's still here, Bryce.
They're doing the work for it as well as Gizmo puts the smack down. Gets it, but that will be a nade that takes him down as well. Afro now diving into this at the same time. London putting the pressure on as much as they can onto FaZe, hoping to find some magic at the bottom of this barrel. But it's still FaZe with the spawns, and it's still FaZe holding it for now. But enough players here from London may be able to put him in the spawn trap.
Yeah, they can do. They can be put into the blender here if London can lock down some sightlines. aBeZy and Cold, the grenades going to try and find their way out and will do so. But as said, once again, it's the same thing. FaZe were the first ones here, but for London, it's damage limitation. How has Gizmo found that second one? Will not find a third onto Cellium. That'll be 7 seconds over towards FaZe. Rotation in for London once more. They find themselves 20 points behind, make that 25. As we head over towards P5 now. Ravens can win here, but crucially, so can FaZe.
And this is the big thing. Atlanta FaZe will be sick with that hold. That was not as clean as they wanted. And now the hard job. Get all the way across the map. Find a way to break this. And at the moment, it's not working. London still have control. And they have to get past Gizmo. They have to get past Zero, who are just gunning Atlanta FaZe all over this map. Simp eventually finds one towards green. Gizmo still doing the work he needs to. Afro is going to be looking for Simp. He knows who's here. Still looking for him. Simp is on a bit of a 10. No way. Eventually, Afro does shut him down, but that hill is open.
Yeah, Simp just completely breaks the door open for his side. Just goes through completely undetected, but Ravens still close at this moment in time. The kill starting to come through for the Royal Ravens. It looks like a player just broken behind, not quite. Simple find one, Ravens 10 away. They can't quite win it here though. So rotation over towards P1 is going to be important. But look at that from Zero. Secures the final few seconds. Ravens just need a touch.
And somehow we weren't able to get anything into it.
Oh my goodness.
And now London have to go. There is a long way to get into P1 here. They need 1 second. Simp already calling in the glide bomb. All those information will be screamed out to his teammates about everywhere London could possibly be. Can London find something in 8 seconds?
Panicking.
They have to sprint. They have to go. And they have to try and get at least a contest onto this. Into goes Afro. Afro goes in. And nobody was on the hill. Nobody was on the hill. What have we just seen? Atlanta FaZe had it, but they didn't leave enough players on. And one chow has just shot down Atlanta FaZe.
One gunfight does it. How on earth? I know FaZe what they're watching, and you can see Simp dies over towards the boat side, but that one gunfight at Afro, again, kind of has no right to win. Flies through, and that does the job. I mean, look, London did all the hard work before that, and it felt like FaZe were going to secure it. Zero with that kill there, that's absolutely huge. That puts Ravens within the touching distance. This setup from FaZe, though, looks so good. aBeZy that gunfight into Afro is massive. Simp finds another. That's beach control now as well for FaZe, with the glide bomb ready to come in. Don't hate when he calls it at all. This is a good time for me, Brycey, to be honest with you. They're close, they're thereabouts.
I thought it was
Finds
done.
the kill, gets the info as well. At that stage...
Afro. It's Afro with a slide cancel. Watch it as it goes in towards him. He's the only person he has to beat one gunfight. That's it. He just has to beat aBeZy. There is nobody else in the hill. There is nobody else to block this. Arcitys was not watching the stairs. And Atlanta FaZe should have held that for 3 more seconds. They had the bodies and the position, but they left it down to a 50-50 gunfight. I think Arcitys went over when Simp got killed. Like, that is insane. One gunfight won it for them in the end. I can't deal with it. They're going to be so annoyed that that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, you can't just put it on that moment. I would say that, you know, throughout the rest of the game, we talked about these rotations, and when the teams are holding these hills down, how many points they are securing here. Rotation starts coming through for both teams. They're doing very well. But London just did so well. Both times they didn't have rotation over towards P4, and we know how good FaZe are there. But it was almost a crutch for FaZe there that they had to do well there, because everywhere else, London were beating them to it. FaZe, for the most part, over towards P4, locked down so much time. Both times they went over, they had rotation, and London just didn't make it comfortable for them. I think FaZe probably came out on top. Let's not get it twisted. They probably did over towards P4. But the thing is, London stopped them getting as much as they usually would do. They were in through the front door. They were making it awkward. And on occasion, they were very much finding points of their own. So they were the damage limitation time and time again when you are losing that P4 rotation come through for London. They would always have the rotation over towards P5. They would get great time there. And then from there, with the fact that they're 1 point away, yes, FaZe probably should have closed it out here. But you can't put it all just on that one moment though. There was multiple points, wasn't there? Oh yeah, I mean they still should have done it. Right. Yeah. So sorry. Bright, I can hear you. The stream cannot right now. So everything he said, stream, was completely correct. Moments, a couple of issues in the audio section here. For now, we'll get it sorted. But Gavutu, either way, is going to go over towards this side of London, 250 to 247. And it's just those final moments, though. There has been an issue, I would say, from on a couple of occasions of maps that you feel that they shouldn't be losing, and that's one of them. I would say a couple of occasions that you felt they should have been further in the lead, but full credit over towards the London Royal Ravens, 250 to 247. And for me, that's a huge win for them. I hope I've got you back.
I think you have.
Yeah.
I think you have. I was basically explaining the way that hill should usually work and what happens, because something we don't probably talk about is the fact that technically London were what we call staggered, right? So players weren't all in the right position for map control. Essentially, with players coming off respawn, they don't have the advantage in the trades because you cannot concentrate your team in enough time. It also meant, because there were so few seconds left, London couldn't afford to take position. They basically had to run at their hill. That should usually favor Atlanta FaZe in every single scenario. But that one kill that happened towards B control point, and then like that shifted just enough for us to take his eye off of it. And then with one player in the hill, there was no time for Atlanta FaZe to basically like reset their battle line for that one kill that came through. Call it a mistake, call it whatever, but like that game was done in my mind.
Well, it is done. It's done and dusted now, but it will be the Ravens who take it away. Bakaj Search and Destroy coming up next, and as you can see from the offensive and defensive win and first blood percentages, both teams very similar in a certain kind of way. Those first bloods not necessarily at the highest level for both these squads, but the offensive win percentage is definitely there for the side of FaZe. Can they make it count here? Over towards map number 2. Honestly, looking at the grand scheme of things in this series, I had that map down as a FaZe one. I'm sure Ali mentioned it as well. Can they get it done here though on Bakaj to tie things up? This map for me is super crucial because I know how well that FaZe can do on this map. But London have looked fantastic so far. They're 4-0 in Search and Destroy over the regular season at the moment. Can they keep up that form?
Well, let's find out. Obviously, a bit of a regain, but anything could happen in the rest of this series. It's slow at the moment on Bakaj. Teams feeling themselves and just trying to figure out where to apply this pressure. London are going to lose first blood, though.
Arcitys position, well, Nasty and Co making sure they are making their movements over towards A, which is obviously the more typical for that side. You need to find a kill, though. That first blood, always difficult to come back against if you are the attacking team. Simp just playing close angle here. He's going to fly out, and Afro wasn't expecting it. Sends a couple of bullets back the other way. but not quite enough. This should be a FaZe round to kick things off, dominant from the side of FaZe, and that's the kind of round that you need after you've had a bit of a shaky end towards a map that they would have definitely felt they should have won. To come in there, dominant round in round number 1 with the search and destroy is the best way to kick it off.
Yeah, that's exactly what they needed to keep going. I'll be honest with you, I'm going to be perfectly concise with this right now. I'm still trying to replay that entire last situation in my head. I've got to get into this next game. We kind of got straight through it.
Come on, lock in.
I need to regain more than anybody else does. But yeah, still, that kind of blows this series entirely open. Atlanta FaZe will be looking to try and bring this back to 1-1 after a disappointing finish, but London now spreading out. They've all kind of just played this a little bit slow. They're going to be looking for position here as they go through. As Nasty and Simp do exchange bullets, but Nasty stays alive.
Yeah, Nasty taking a couple to the face there. Has to be careful. Seemed like there was a specific strap there from Ravens over towards the B side. Grenades heading over, presumably towards the end of River, closer to the tank. Maybe expecting a rush to come through from FaZe. Doesn't pay off this time, but something to keep an eye on. We do advance on. Shots being raining through from both two teams. First gunfight going to go over towards aBeZy. And a pretty, let's say, average to put on map number 1. Needs to step it up here. Arcitys will find the kill on the Nasty. And Afro need to do the work over towards Grandma's. Afro will make it a little bit easier, but 2 versus 3 here for the defensive side of Royal Ravens. Not an ideal spot to be in.
We see Zero trying to make a bit of a route here. Afro might try and be a hero player again. Brings it back to a 2 versus 2. And he's just running about. He does not want to get pinned down by this FaZe team. And it looks like they might commit to A here. He's going to pop out at the wrong time. Afro, did they see him? I think they did it as a shout from aBeZy. And Afro says, thank you very much. Cellium, I think, also saw him at the same time. And it's chaotic. And Zero is going to go for this one straight away. And Cellium somehow gets away from it as well. And not going to be able to get that turn on. What a crazy ending. The Ravens clutch up.
It's a 2 versus 4. That's one of those situations, again, if you're FaZe, these are the ones you need to be closing out. And it feels like FaZe... This is probably going to sound stupid. I thought it in my mind, and I said it in my head, and I was like, this is going to sound weird. But it feels like they're in control till they're not. And but it happens so often. It feels like they can't do anything wrong, and then bang, something can change so fast against this FaZe squad. End of the hard point. Rounds like that. Sometimes these things do happen, but on the side of FaZe, they need to start locking some of these moments in where they should absolutely not be losing. Yes, okay, some of them can happen, but it's happening a lot at the moment.
He's trying to get it as well, and that's 3 down already. The game is pretty much done. Kismet last alive on the tank, and he's going to get chowed by 2 players of FaZe, and that round is over.
I mean, they just hit each other over towards A and hit each other hard. Simp coming out on top with 3 kills to his name. He's having a good series now. 5-1 here. He was really the catalyst for what was somewhat of a comeback from FaZe in map number 1. If he can keep this up, FaZe have very much got a good chance in this series, but London Royal Ravens still very much in it. Only 2-1, but a good round of the young god. Can he keep things up? 5-1.
Simp just took that last one personally. He was having a great time there in the hard point. Can they do anything else with this one? There's going to be a fight already. I think somebody got through there, but already Kismet with a little bit of pressure has taken down Simp. London have the advantage in numbers.
Got a hold of the bomb as well. I think that would have been called out. Zero's in a bit of trouble. aBeZy, though, just about gets away. I'm not quite sure how. 10 HP in a dream. Now dead. Afro will fly on through. Back the beef. It's a 2v4 for FaZe.
They're going to be seeing if they can bring these numbers anywhere back to the realms of possibility. And Nasty has been challenged by Cellium and has been taken down. Got to be careful as they push through here. I think Arcity's been seen as well. He's going to go down. It's now a 2 versus 1, and Cellium gets gunned. Afro is on it today. Unbelievable. He is such a difficult player to deal with. And he's been just causing issues all over the map. Currently 7-2. That last round as well, you could see him pulling Atlanta FaZe apart. And then the 2-piece to end this round.
And I think you called it completely correctly there. He's feeling it. When Afro has that confidence, he's one of the best in the game. In terms of one-on-one gunfights, there's not many other people that can do that to Cellium. Of course, you know, when it comes down to Vanguard, the time to kill is very, very low. And, you know, these snappy, twitchy fights working out in Afro's favor this time. Are 7-2 out of him. 2-2 in the game. Curious to see how things can continue here. Both two teams have such great KDs when it does come down to Picard Search and Destroy. Simp with a 1.4, Arcitys a 1.39, Afro 1.32, Zero 1.25. These are crazy. They're literally 4 of the top 5 KD leaders going up against each other.
And London have decided not to go for this B push. They are going to get everybody over towards A. I think it was Gizmo who was watching over this side, and he knows that nobody pushed up for it, so it's giving them the confidence to actually make a move here. This bomb goes down. It's going to be a retake for Atlanta FaZe. Arcitys is going to be on it, but he won't be able to see anybody. Bomb down, 4v4.
Oh, aBeZy's going to get aggressive immediately. They won't be expecting Afro there. They'll go for the check and get back inside. The cover in from God Time from Gizmo. Does not quite find the gunfight. Shots going in from Arcitys. 1 HP and a dream gets out. Nobody dying somehow, some way. Eventually, aBeZy will find the kill. 26 seconds to go. FaZe have still got work to do. There's another one, 2v4.
The time might be a problem here for Atlanta FaZe. They have to commit everything for it. Afro gonna get one. Does and tries to get out. Looks for the second. Afro! No way! No way he's doing this again. He's on a 5 streak. They're coming towards him. Doesn't get the third, and it's not gonna be enough. A hero play only lasts as long as you're alive. And Atlanta FaZe hold after Afro almost puts them to the sword again. What is this S&D?
It's a valiant attempt. Let's have a look at that one again in a second. Afro nearly gets it. Oh, one more kill there and he might have had the job, because I mean FaZe kind of have to jump on at this stage, so 20 seconds remaining. Gets on the point. This second one is absurd. Oh my goodness, that's a bit of crazy reg. Neither way. Simp dies very quickly. Can't quite solidify, but London very close once more. Such close rounds. A lot of these moments coming down to 1 or 2 gunfights around. 3-2 now to FaZe. Ravens very much in touch here on the back of a 9-3 from Afro.
And after those kind of crazy rounds, everything slows down. The team's looking for this first blood again. Might be Nasty, who's pushing up just a little bit. Does he get aggressive here, or is he just waiting to execute if they know where they're going? Afro's going to be inside there already. Cellium gets it onto Nasty. This gives confidence to Atlanta FaZe now.
Can they open up a gap here? Oh, did he see Afro?
I think
you see him. They won't be expecting 2 to be in here, though. They will not. Irrelevant if FaZe get the bomb down here. They're going to push in.
They're waiting.
It's Zero.
They're waiting for him.
This is perfect for London. Can they lock this down?
Cellium has sent him low.
Afro gets him off the bomb.
He does. And now Atlanta FaZe, it's all about time again. Afro again. Afro just everywhere. This man is speed.
I love this play. I love this play from Arcitys. Should he just go plan B? He's flanking around himself, though. And now, who's got who in what position? Afro and Gizmo are ready and waiting. 13 seconds to go. You gotta go if you're Arcitys.
He's gonna commit. He's gonna look for Afro, and Afro shuts him down. Cellium looking for this last player, and of course, it's gonna be Gizmo. And the London Royal Ravens walk away with it. I cannot take these S&Ds. Arcitys went for the big play.
Oh.
And it comes down to 1v1 again.
That got very scary for Gizmo for a second there. As soon as I see Cell sliding through, it's like, uh-oh. But for me, that Arcitys picks up the bomb, and I thought the play was immediately go over towards B. I mean, it's easy for us to say because we know that both players are over towards there. And how would they know if there was nobody over towards B? But relevant, it felt like that was what he was going to do, and ultimately it would have worked. Either way, into the next round, 3-3. This has been a crazy game of Search so far. Nasty is just here for the ride.
Yeah, I can't believe Afro's stealing all those kills. It's just
That's
rude.
Crazy. Like what happens to me in every single rank game, bros.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Stealing my kills, mate. That's all it is.
And the S&D slows down again, and considering the kind of like anticlimactic, because at the end of every round, it's coming down to just half an inch there. One misstep. You can see they're trying to figure this one out. FaZe hold. He's going to see Gizmo, who takes a couple of bullets to the teeth, but it's not going to be enough to put him down.
I see it's rotating around very slow here from the Ravens. This is something a bit more of the playbook of Atlanta FaZe. A bit more of a neutral setup for the side of London, looking for a pick, but FaZe at this moment in time offering them very little. Simp is going to peek his head and he's going to get it taken off. First kill for Nasty might be an influential one. His Ravens now in a 4v3, but time is not on their side. Make it 3v3.
Kismet all the way around back there and goes down, but it will be brought back from, you can see the corners come in. However, what? I don't even understand how Afro did that, but he's gone down and Cellium's going to try and make a play. Didn't know the guy was on bomb. He's going to find the players and just die. I can't take these S&D rounds. What are we just seeing? How did Afro make that kill?
I'm still trying to pick my jaw up off the floor. What on earth was that?
I don't understand.
Nah, whoa.
That's like something out of anime. Like, aBeZy had him. And everyone just went, nope. It's nothing personal, kid.
Oh, my word. He just sent... I literally just sent aBeZy to the upside down there. That was crazy. 13-4. It's the Afro show. My goodness. 4-3 up. Here we go. Aggressive round coming out from Atlanta FaZe over towards A. Not typically something that works for them, but they have control now. Bombs going down. First blood nasty.
Atlanta FaZe desperately trying to right this ship. They do not have the numbers, but they do have bomb down, and they are going to play around it. aBeZy will be the first man here. He has Overwatch from Cellium, but the pressure will come through. Afro already trying to make a push towards that bomb site. Pushing through, and it's going to be aBeZy to find the first. Looking for anything more as he goes for it, but of course Afro shuts him down.
Two.
Now they have to get away forward here.
Oh, Cellium's been gunned as well. Nasty finds it. Oh, Afro will find the kill on Arcitys, who, God tell me, please, he was weak. The kill will come through nonetheless, and so will the defuse. Nasty with 2 kills that round.
16-4?
He's... I don't even know how to explain this. This is wild. Like, I've never seen someone so confident every single gunfight. Arcitys, yes, of course, was weak. 15-4 now, but Nasty really has started to wake up a little bit, and that's now with Ravens starting to extend this lead, starting to stretch their legs a little bit. First blood in the previous round from Nasty, first blood in that one as well. Good play from the Ravens for the retake there. And again, those fast A breakoffs do not work for FaZe. They're 3-9 when they make that fast A push. Not working that time, Ravens map point.
Atlanta FaZe have to hold here. It'll go down 2-0 in this series. And then they got to do it 2 more times. London, slow at the moment, waiting to figure out where to apply this pressure. And look, the players slowly heading towards Barn. It does kind of stink of an A push.
It's looking that way. FaZe offering nothing over towards that A side, though. No picks to be had. Very much looking for maybe a retake scenario here. London haven't found themselves in a position to be retaken, though. Quite yet. It's very slow. Somebody who is not slow is this man. 15-4 out of Afro. Can he be the one to find the break? But as I said, FaZe not really in and around the site here. It's only really aBeZy who's in a position to do something about this bomb going down. Cellium will find the first kill, though. Now this is an awkward situation for London. They've taken too much time to get here. 28 seconds remaining and 2v4.
Yeah, they've put an awful lot of time trying to make this play, and now they don't have the numbers. And Cellium, that's a crazy chow. Doesn't wait for it. Simp's going to find the first. It's finds 0 as well. And Atlanta FaZe do get one back onto the board. London burnt the time for the pick, but no pick was coming.
Yeah, FaZe just don't offer anything. Well played from Simp, though. It's a second. Gizmo never going to be able to answer that, and 0 gets snapped onto. Would have been dead to rights anyway, but much better from FaZe. Very patient. Played that quite passively, but that was fine, because so did London. As soon as that time is burned, London are in a difficult spot. When you play that pick scenario, and you let that time dwindle down, it's never on your side as the attacking team. Now it's their turn to defend. Can they close it out before we see round 11 here?
Well, if you're Atlanta FaZe, just trying to make sure you don't lose that first blood. You see all the way back, they are waiting. Arcitys sitting well back in spawn. aBeZy will have bomb, but I don't think he's going towards B. I've got a feeling they'll try and make this A play again.
Again, though, I mean, similar. It's pretty much a carbon copy of what FaZe did in the previous round. Ravens, very passive, just giving up that A side. Yes, okay, they do have Nasty over towards that back tank. Is the utility there for FaZe, though? Grenades already being used by Simp. Shots going out across the map. Nothing taken, though, but the squad still 4v4. Time is dwindling. Gizmo first blood. Gizmo second blood.
Cellium now the 1v4, and it's not going to happen. It's no good. The London Royal Ravens put Atlanta FaZe in the dirt on that S&D, mostly off the back of Afro. I don't usually like to highlight players. This is a team game, but some of the things he was doing on that map will probably be GA at some point. What a ridiculous run from the Ravens. The hard point may have been close, but you felt like London were in control for a good portion of that S&D.
I mean, what can you do when Afro's running around like that? It was like he was living in the server. That was wild how fast he was killing people, just flying around the place, and the reactions are insane every single time. That gunfight on aBeZy in Bomb Grandmas, I need to see it again. I'm not sure aBeZy will want to ever again himself. That was... I don't even feel like aBeZy even did that bad in that gun.
I think he may have missed the first bullet and then just died. It was actually insane. I don't really understand what happened, but unreal.
Ridiculous game out of Afro. And I mean, I feel like I've said it throughout the season, one of those players that you kind of think about in terms of, you know, those fast gunfights. Afro is one of them. He's got to be a nightmare for anybody pushing grandmas. Let's have a look.
Go down.
Land?
1, 2,
he did. I mean, he hit the first bullet, which in Vanguard usually means you win the gunfight.
Hit the second bullet as well, Ton, and then just died. Didn't hit anymore.
Oh man, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. That is a crazy game out of Afro specifically. 6-4 for the Ravens. And as I mentioned, I do want to give a shout out to Nasty Day. Had a slow start, finds a couple of first bloods, so which are paramount to Ravens finding a couple more rounds to solidify that win. So 2 very close maps lead us to a 2-0 Ravens lead, Bryce. My goodness.
It certainly does, and it has been an incredible series so far. The hard point was close. The S&D glorious. We'll have to see how the control goes. We'll see you right after this.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by Mountain Dew and Zenny. Armor your eyes with Blocks gaming glasses starting at $24 by visiting zenny.com/CDL. Upgrade your game with a Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty League. This is our Scuff player of the game, or should I say player of the game, because it's all Afro all the time.
My goodness me, I was just tweeting out there, as far as solo performances go on a map, that has to be up there throughout this year. If I'm just not recalling that many, then tell me. If it's my bias towards European teams, I don't care, because that's I mean, it was pretty insane though. Fantastic stuff from Afro, and again, he's that kind of player you think in and around Gromos, these very close SMG fights. Who do you want to be going against? Not this guy. Crazy game. A 3.2 KD against FaZe.
Yeah, 11 non-traded kills. Like, it is kind of insane. And like I said before, it's always difficult for me to talk about a solo player because there are a lot of factors that go into it, from the call-outs to the players having his cut. But the truth is, when you look at the plays he was actually making, the things he was doing, they were not only the kills he made, but how important they were and the situations he was in. He pulled FaZe apart in several scenarios. He got first bloods. He got the trades when he needed them. In essence, it's a lot to get a player into that position from the Ravens, but he performed above and beyond what was even expected for him in those scenarios.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what he was doing as well, of course, winning his gunfights every single time, it felt like, but very unpredictable plays from him as well. The Ravens did set him up in a couple of situations, but there was moments where he would just, I think in that 2v4, I think he flew out of bottom Gromos and it just went for FaZe. And it's just things like that. When you're in a 2v4, playing the conventional slow kind of play, you're always just going to get out in them. That sort of situation, you push forward, you take the situation into your own hands. And Afro did that in so many different ways. FaZe now backs against the wall. But moving on to the rest of the series here, Bryce, yeah, I will say building control. If Gavidu hardpoint was for the side of FaZe and they lose it, building control definitely is there. Although London have not done so hot on control so far this season, but FaZe are on a 3 games losing streak, so actually I don't know what I'm talking about at this stage. Who is doing worse is this kind of how we're going to put it off, because at this moment in time London have not looked fantastic when it has come down to control. Can they turn it around here? Can FaZe turn it around here? They absolutely have to.
Yeah, not only this, but obviously it kind of sets a precedent for FaZe. They've got Seattle next as well. It could be one of the worst qualifiers they've actually had. That's not what you want to see if you're a FaZe fan coming into this point of the year, but it doesn't seem like they're in too bad of spirits about it. You can see a couple of smiles coming through for Atlanta FaZe, so maybe the regain is on the cards. The other story, of course, about this is going to be the London Royal Ravens. Apparently Gizmo is like just returning, and it has changed the fate of this squad potentially. Vibes seem to be flowing. It's a complete reconnect. The other thing is, even when Gizmo was back kind of before he left for a little while, this London team didn't look this good. They kind of fallen off a bit, but hey, maybe they're back in a honeymoon period. Maybe they're looking incredibly dangerous towards the end of the year. Can they put FaZe down 3-0 right now is the question.
I mean, it would be a tall order still for all that FaZe have not looked good recently on this map. Control recently for the Ravens has been substandard. Everything else has been sensational. But let's not detract away. There is 3 game modes. You still need to be good at all 3. When you are very, very good at the 2 that you have 2 maps of, yes, okay, that is the better situation to be in, but they will want to sharpen up on their control. Good way to do it here up against FaZe. Yet on to Berlin. They've lost it 3 times in a row. Ravens not good over their last 5 either. So let's see if things can get going. Either one of these teams on control. It's either going to be a 3-0 for Ravens or a potential start of the comeback here for FaZe.
Well, at the moment, London just trying to get B locked down, and Zero just saying, all right, that's a bit of an overextension from you. You can sit down while I keep this open.
For the side of Ravens, currently 1-8 in their attacking rounds on Berlin. Over their last 9, of course. Last in offensive round win percentage. So getting a hold of B is a good start, of course. The push over towards A is where it is a little bit more difficult, and that A is going to be dealt with over towards that side. And FaZe can now set themselves up over towards Train. Plenty of control here. Will force Ravens to push through fire. Ready and waiting as aBeZy.
Oh, Afro's going to find Cellium, but there is one more player left, and that's going to be Arcitys at the back, and they're going to try and deal with him first before they make this push through ticket. You can see him, Afro, that is an ambitious chow, and eventually he is going to go down, and FaZe still playing this pretty much textbook as they continue to rotate through that A site and push out ticket. Somebody will be watching this flank, though.
Well, Nasty has actually found a route through. Arcitys will get taken down, so for the side of Ravens, these gunfights are very, very important. Gizmo will find one. If Simp can find a second here onto Gizmo, that would be massive, fantastic shots. Eventually, it will be Cellium left alone, and he will find the gunfight onto Afro, but London are in the point. That's big.
aBeZy's going to get it in, and he's going to try and find Nasty as well. We know exactly where he is, and he's going to eventually get help from his teammate. And FaZe stop that first hit going through. And Simp is down towards the back. Surely not. Eventually, Afro does take him down, but he is alone.
London are getting players through, but it seems to only be one at a time. Afro now just trying his best to survive, but FaZe do know where he is. Gotta go for the challenge here. Surely will be challenged from the other side. Yep, aBeZy will find that kill. A little bit more purchase for FaZe, but Ravens have made their way up the map a little bit more. They were very much stuck over towards the dock side. Now in a much better position to try and find an attack from. Nasty.
That's a big two. Doesn't have players in around this so they can make it, but Simp is trying to do something here, but Gizmo and Nero get it as well. They're back into it, and Afro gonna be on the flag. He's looking for the players, finds a two-piece, and they're now coming off a spawn, and Afro's going for the chow, because of course he is, and Cellium drops as well. Afro says, thanks for the setup, teammates. I'm ready to clear platform down. Two players have got him weak, though, 6 health. Surely can't survive any longer. Eventually will go down. FaZe get a couple of kills, and London are trying to get him, but Gizmo gets his own too. Unbelievable plays.
Fantastic from the side of Ravens to make this very difficult now for FaZe. 7 lives remaining, but FaZe have actually found a little bit of purchase here. 4 members up, they're able to push forward. Ravens need to take their time here. Don't get a little bit too overzealous in this position. From me, for Afro, I'd like to see him wait on his teammates there. On occasion, that's the sort of thing that can kind of go wrong with a player like that. You want to release them all the time, but in that scenario, look at the lives, take your time, see the map control you had. Now you don't have it. Cellium 5 spree. It's a 6v5. It's turned around very, very quickly, but still 35 seconds remaining.
Yeah, you have to give credit to FaZe here as well. Yeah, that was an 100%. Incredible scenario to come back from, Ton. Like, I thought that game may have been done after Afro got 3, but it wasn't to be. Somehow they have held back. London will get 2 ticks onto B. Very, very important for them. And unless they make a big kind of string of kills now, I'm just not sure they can get through.
5v4. Gunfights are massive, make that a 5v3. Simp surviving. Arcitys did so well to do so down this left-hand side. Don't think London are close enough. Cellium on a 6 spree. You'd love to make it a 7. There it is. Give him number 8 as well. Not quite, but it's an Atlanta FaZe win, round number 1. A one that they really had to fight for there, though, Bryce. It was looking so controlled, and all of a sudden, Afro bursts through the front door, finds a few. But my only query around that for London is that Afro's finding those kills there. FaZe aren't answering back. How are London not closer to capturing that point? How are they not there to back them up?
I was looking for the last player, and maybe they just got caught out a bit. But you are right. I kind of thought that London may have had a few more bodies into that point. But again, that's why you have to give so much credit to Atlanta FaZe. They made a comeback in a position that is very, very difficult for, especially with Gizmo getting 2 more in that point. It could have been all over for them.
It just felt like with the pressure that Afro had, like, how are they not much further forward? How is there nobody there? Either way, doesn't matter now. You lose the round, not the end of the world. It's an 8 spree for Cellium, though. Starting to heat up in this series, is he? Maybe just a little bit. It could be a problem for the side of the Royal Ravens. Nasty will fall. 9 in a row now from Cell. That glide bomb is nice to have, of course, for the side of FaZe and for Cellium, but as far as maps go, this is probably the least effective to have that glide bomb on, but nonetheless, you take it every single time you get it.
It's all gone a bit quiet. You can see Atlanta FaZe want to execute, but with Nasty shutting down Secret, it's not going to really give them the opportunity they want to squeeze. You can already see the FaZe players are pulling back into fire. They know there's no point if you don't have anybody at least trying to squeeze, take it down a little bit. It isn't going to work for him as Afro. Surely not. Eventually will go down. But Atlanta FaZe are in a really good position for this one. Lots of time on the board and the kill advantage.
It just feels like London are a little bit more static in their defense. You can see how deep they're sitting. And they haven't actually taken up the opportunity to push down train side. FaZe were putting a lot of bodies over towards the fire and B side to get a hold of that and then extend that side of the map. Good gunfight win from Cellium. But London didn't take that opportunity to then stretch down train side. Maybe just not being a little proactive enough, I want to say, on their defensive side of things. And now they may well get broken here. momentarily. It's only Nasty left inside the point. Needs to win this gunfight. aBeZy will find it. FaZe have got a lot of purchase over towards A now, Bryce.
They certainly have. Got to be careful. Look, there's going to be a player. I think it's Afro going to come through secret. Nobody's really watching him at this point as he comes to the outside. Since his gun barrel, aBeZy just catches sight of him, and that first hit goes through, but he's under pressure! And that'll be a kill. Simp eventually kind of rectifying that situation, but he's now all alone in that point. Eventually, reinforcements flooding from Cellium at the same time. As both teams continue to trade, it should be London to win this one out, though. They have the closest spawn, and that's the difference in the end.
It's a big kill from Zero as well. Arcitys gets run behind, then all of a sudden, these couple of kills that aBeZy may find will become a little bit more dangerous. Still a bad spot for Ravens here. 1:20 to go. 11 lives remaining. You cannot allow FaZe to find those kills. And again, Ravens, you find a few dead. They're not pushing forward. They're very much sitting back. I just hope it doesn't come back against them here, because I'd like to see teams expand out on the map. Yes, okay, you do have Zero over there. The Ravens very passive in their defense over towards it.
Yeah, Zero's basically just cutting down that entire flank. It's just allowing London to watch one direction. You can see pre-aims going on everywhere, but Simp managed to get that first kill. It's going towards the back here. Nasty finds one, but it will be traded out back again. Zero's now going for that flank. Keep it on the mini-map. It's going to be a very important if he can make it. aBeZy finds a second. Atlanta FaZe are in.
That's a big gunfight win. Zero gets taken down. FaZe through the front door. Only 7 lives remaining for the side of London. It's looking a little bit choked on this round as the gunfight start to come through. Arcitys and Cellium combining. That will be a 2-0 lead for FaZe. Fantastically well done from them. But honestly, I feel like Ravens are making it a little bit too easy for them. They're sitting far too far back. They found 3 or 4 kills before that. Of course, that full gunfight that starts to come through. FaZe find the gunfight wins and push forward. But I'd like to see Ravens get just a little bit more map control when they can afford to do so. It seems like they're turtling up a little bit for me.
Yeah, maybe, but I've got to give credit to FaZe there.
Oh,
we talked
100%.
about executing onto a point, and that was an execution. They managed to make the trades work for them perfectly all the way through, and then once you're in, that's the choke point. Can FaZe hold this defense now, or do London Royal Ravens have the opportunity to bring it back?
Zero ready for this overextension that's coming in from FaZe towards the train side. Not going to be ready for the second one. Cellium will find him. Gunfights went over towards London or towards the B side, though, so that's going to be plenty of time. Afro and Cole look to garner control of fire. aBeZy ready and waiting. Afro expecting the overextension through map to try and stop stuff going on over towards B, but that one is already done and dusted.
Comes Gizmo, and they're going to know exactly where he is, Ton. Not going to work for him. Cellium on a 5 streak now, and they have taken this a little bit personally. In comes the glide bomb. Probably won't get anyone. We're only over about 3 steps away from being inside on this map, but... Oh! What? He threads a needle onto the stairs! I say that, and he finds the gap in the roof. That is unlucky.
FaZe have only lost 3 bodies throughout this round. And Cellium just forcing London back. And the reason he's done that, 7 spree. Finds himself another one momentarily, you would think. Of course, don't get as many points when it does come down towards that glide bomb kill. Doesn't quite lock that one in. Simp will be able to find one. Is going to find Zero as well. This is just a demonstration on how to play control on Berlin so far from the side of FaZe. A shaky round number 1. Matt has not. After we'll find 2 though, and maybe something on the cards here for the Ravens. They need to get something going here.
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing about Berlin. It can all change in just a few gunfights. Gizmo's in. They're trying to hold this one down. Fight's going towards the back. Fight's going through this window as well. Gizmo gets it. London still have some numbers here, but the nades rain through, and Zero just wants to stop this time. He knows the reinforcements might not come for him in time, but he's going to win the gunfight and eventually go down. Nasty now going to be here on the window, looking for Cellium, not able to finish his dinner. And London won't be able to do anything more here. Great hold from Atlanta FaZe.
Afro will find the kill on the flank, so FaZe will have to worry about that. They have to win your gunfights towards the front. Good shots from Simp. Afro now will go looking for him, but he's going to have more than one to deal with. We'll find the first on Arcitys. Surely not on the Simp here as well. Just goes through the front door. Guesses wrong. Simp surviving. Simp finding the kills. Phenomenal from him. He locks it down on his own. 3 important kills. FaZe very, very stubborn in their defense yet. Ravens do have map control, but they've struggled to get a foothold inside the point.
2 of FaZe are off the respawn. You can already see Afro going for that flank at the same time as Cellium tries to take them down. Nasty eventually takes down Simp. This just trades flying through as Gizmo gets one more. And Nasty flies in with a pistol, but he's just outnumbered and outgunned. And London, they tried to make the plays. And now it's a full reset. This is a big fight towards the back here. Zero can slow them down, but Simp says not today, friend.
That should be that.
Yeah, that clock is against them.
There really is. 15 seconds. If you're London, you need Afro to pull out some kind of madness, as he did in map number 2. FaZe are going to get themselves on the board here, though, Brycey. And deservedly so. That is a dominant control win. Stops their bleeding, but London, the woes continue on control. They'll be happy enough to be heading into map 4 with a 2-1 lead, but that's something they seriously need to work on if they want to be considered contenders heading into next weekend.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. Cellium went man mode on that. Just a godlike figure on the entire map. I think he finished up 27-12 or 28-12. We'll get confirmation for it, but that is a very few deaths game for a game of control. And you are right. There we go, 27-12 in the end. 21 non-traded kills. And Afro's going to get a -30.
Oh, no. Surely we can't do that to his stats. He had a hell of a game in 1 and 2. Nonetheless, though, Cellium 27-12, as you mentioned. That is a huge game out of FaZe. And that's the kind of performance you want when you're 2-0 down. 3-0 under control to bring you back into it. A lot of momentum heading into it. And let's just talk on the highlights here immediately. This felt like London's best chance. I think aBeZy finds the kill into 0, so ultimately it is actually Afro at the front door. Yeah, everybody's miles away. Gizmo's inside the point, it's ticking it up. It just felt like London should have had more control than this, but Arcitys overextending, kind of cutting off the reinforcements there probably is what's done it for them. But this was London's best chance. I said it was a 3v2 at one stage, but outside of this, they kind of didn't have a sniff, Brycey.
Yeah, I mean, between Cellium, you saw, I mean, credit to Arcitys actually for that play. Like, a lot of people probably wouldn't have expected the flank to come through at that point, and it could have shut them down. That's what Afro was waiting for. London obviously spawned so far away, they just weren't able to get anybody else there. Even after Afro did all of that work, their team spawns up and gets back before his teammates can. But you are right, it has not gone well for the London Royal Ravens. Atlanta FaZe looked a different level on Berlin control.
And I said that was a 3-game losing streak for the side of FaZe. That is now ended. London very much struggling though when it does come down to control, but they won't be too concerned about that. I think, you know, if they were going into this series, they would have set themselves that the control would be difficult. We haven't necessarily looked fantastic on it recently, but neither have FaZe, so that's maybe one that could have slipped by. It depends what, if you're a glass half full or glass half empty kind of guy. But Tuscan hardpoint coming up. Tuscan search and destroy then to follow if we need it. Still maps that both teams could go away with here, Bryce, to be honest with you. It's really, really difficult to put a pin on who's going to win this. Of course, a lot of people will say that London have got that advantage. Absolutely, they do so. But I still think it's so hard. You can never count FaZe out, ever.
No, you really can't, and that's going to be the difficulty here for London Royal Ravens. They've done so much hard work so far. They can't let a Berlin control derail what has been a great series for them. While I say that, the hardpoint was close. The S&D, well, let's face it, that was an S&D to rewatch just when you need some good Call of Duty action, but it could have gone the other way on a few occasions. So it does mean that FaZe are still in a very good position moving into this next hardpoint, and I wonder, Ton, if they're feeling a little bit buoyed by the fact they just had that control.
Well, hopefully though, when we say that we can't ever count FaZe out, that's definitely something that I think a lot of people would agree with me on necessarily. But when it comes down to Tuscan hardpoint, let's talk through it just a little bit. London are on a 4-game win streak. FaZe have lost 3 of the last 4. Well, that, I mean, if you're London, that's absolutely in your favor. But as we say so often, I don't think there'll be anybody out there watching this game now 100% sure that Ravens are going to win that. The stats would say they've got a really good chance, but going up against FaZe, stats sometimes don't necessarily matter. If they can turn it on and bring what kind of level they can, they have been the most consistent team on this game all the way through. If they can do that here, we see a map number 5, no question.
Well, let's find out, because if I know one thing, is that this series has been fantastic so far. And I want it to continue. Let's actually make this a best of 12 and just keep on going. I know that would end in a tie, but I'm very much looking forward to just seeing them go to war. One thing I will say is that, again, right, before this series even started, we're talking about benchmarking, figuring out how these teams are looking. And it's a little bit different to the conversations we've had, because a lot of it's about the bubble teams, about who's actually making champs. These two teams are in a good spot. The difference being, heading into Major 4, obviously, both are kind of looking towards some of the favorites that might end up taking it. London with an incredible resurgence and a return to form all the way back to like stage 1. Atlanta FaZe are maybe looking less strong than they have before, but I feel like we've said that before in qualifiers, Ton, and then they come through and get second at the major.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that whole sort of remark I've just said, you can never count them out. It doesn't matter if they lost their last game 3-0 against Paris. It wouldn't matter. Honestly, going into the next series, they could go in 3-0 somebody. They are that kind of team that can bring that level. But look, it's hard to say. I think for me, we were talking about it before the series in terms of, you said that benchmarking. I think this, whatever way this goes, whatever the rest of this series goes, I would definitely say that it puts London up there. Those first two maps up against FaZe, clutch moments that need to come through, the overall good play. Yes, okay, the control absolutely needs work, but I feel like whatever else happens in this series now, London have put themselves up there to be in contention going into the weekend. Yes, okay, if they close it out, it puts them in an even better spot. But at the same time, they've shown they can hang with the likes of FaZe. They've shown that they have been fantastic all the way through this online stage. If they're going up and giving FaZe a really good game, they have a good chance to go over towards New York, and they've got a chance to win it as much as another 3 or 4 teams that we have spoke about on the desk previously just there before. I'm really looking forward to see how they do, because we've seen form, of course, against some of the teams that you would expect, to have a good game against, but going up against FaZe, I think a lot of people would have picked FaZe today. If they can go and give them a very, very good game, London will be feeling confident heading into the major.
Yeah, they certainly will, and not just the major, but also champs. And speaking about champs, obviously we're going to talk about champs tickets. They're on sale now. You can come see us live at the Garden Centre August 4th to 7th. Championship weekend. It has been a long time for the pair of us before we've been to a champs, and I am ready to go again.
It's been a long time since I've been to an event, mate. I don't know if you remember. I missed the last one. So I'm just quite happy to be going. I'm quite happy to be leaving the house, to be fair. Touch a bit of grass and that. We've been here for quite some time. No, I'm really, really excited for champs. Of course, back in LA, it does feel like the home of champs in a certain kind of way, and it's going to be exciting. I'm very, very curious to see how things are going to go down there, but I just love how close it is to this event as well. It's like we've got our final major. This is our final weekend of online broadcasts and online games, and then straight into champs like 2 weeks after. It's going to be a wild couple of weeks. I'm so excited for it. I hope everybody at home is as well.
We certainly are, and obviously I think the teams are making it interesting as well, right? Like, the results are a little bit crazy, everything's going down. We've got the bubble teams in the standings, which is kind of making an interesting run here. I know a lot of the kind of the focus is on New York and if they can make the Cinderella story come true, but all the way from like maybe even Boston, but Ultra, Thieves, Guerrillas, Røkkr, Mutineers, Subliners still fighting for their chance to get all the way to champs and hopefully do the business at Major IV, Ton.
Yeah, if you're a team like Boston and Ultra, you have to be careful to not drop too many games online. And if you go in and have a terrible major, lose both your games if you're in winners, or lose immediately out of losers, then a couple of the teams underneath, teams specifically like Subliners, could go on to do well. Røkkr are streaky, Mutineers are kind of there as well. Guerrillas, you never know what you're going to get out of them based on what we've seen last week. Thieves as well. Boston and Ultra are not safe yet. They're in a better spot, of course, but they cannot afford to have a terrible major. They cannot afford to do so. Whereas the rest of the teams underneath them, they need to make sure they have a good major. I think that's kind of the difference, isn't it? If Ultra and Boston can just do mediocre, they should be okay.
Yeah.
But the rest of the teams, they need to go on to do well.
So, I know we've kind of been talking about this a little bit, but London's strategy at the moment of not playing the third game mode is really interesting. They're basically like just dominant on the hard points and the S&Ds, and then they can't figure it out. I imagine their coaches are back at base just losing full completely. Like, what is going on with this one specific game mode that we can't get?
It is literally black and white. They are now 0-4 in control and 11-0 in hard point and search and destroy combined. I mean, what do you say to that?
Well,
Fix control and we're the best team on the game?
Well, potentially. That's the funny thing. Like, if they can get that. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of the Ultra conversation. The problem being is that control is 1 out of 5, and like hardpoint was 2 out of 5, so it was much worse for Ultra. And the best thing is here for the Ravens, obviously dominant everywhere else. Can they continue that spree though, Ton? Can they make this 12-0 and take down Atlanta FaZe?
Yeah, it's interesting. And on the other side of the coin, I mean, FaZe were 4-0 in Search and Destroy heading into this one. So the fact that London have beat them in Search and Destroy shows that their Search and Destroy game is top level. It's nice to have that underneath your belts, and if they can close it out here, looking on the respawn side of things for FaZe, they're 3-5 on respawns during stage 4. This is London's chance to close it out, and then we've got a Search and Destroy coming up on map number 5 if we need it. Literally, either map could go either.
It certainly will. Well, we're going to take a very quick break where we get tons from After Sun for that nose, and we'll be back with all the action for map number 4. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty League. If you are joining us just now, where on earth have you been? This series has been fantastic. So far, London Royal Ravens are 2-1 against Atlanta FaZe. It's very much the same old story as the rest of the stage, though. At the moment, London, Hardpoint S&D locked in. They're looking great. The control, don't know what's happened to them. But moving into this next hardpoint, it could be the potential where London put Atlanta FaZe down in this series.
Yeah, I think looking at the next two maps, of course, we have said that either one of them could go either way based on these two teams' form and who they are specifically. But I think if London are going to win on any map out of the last two, it could be this one. I said the stats do lean in their favor, but the stats land in the favor of FaZe in map number 1, so it does make an interesting view when it does come down to it. I think for me, we were always heading into the series expecting, well, I was personally expecting FaZe to go on to win that control just based on how London's has looked so far. But now it really comes down to it. Tuscan Hardpoint, you would think of this map specifically and say to yourself, that should suit FaZe down to the ground. But as of recent, they have not looked solid on it. They haven't looked fantastic on respawn, full stop. So can they bring it to the table here up against the Ravens side, who have looked phenomenal on Tuscan? I'm really curious to see how things kick off, actually, because when it does come down to the breaks, that's where London are looking really, really nice to kick things off over towards P1. So let's see if they can do it here in P4, over in map number 4, I should say.
Yeah, 100%. And while we look forward to map number 4, we are going to take a little trip down memory lane into map 3. Here is our Game Fuel tactical play. It's going to be that glide bomb we were looking at. Now, if you remember the lines, on Berlin, you're never too far away from being inside. And you can see the players move in, and they are going to be inside, but there is going to be a hole in the roof. And you can see he's aiming for the stairs. He threads the needle, and I still don't know how he found 2, but Cellium does find 2. And I don't think they're particularly happy with it. You can see Gizmo, isn't he? He's like, we should not have allowed him to get 2 off of that.
And this is exactly what Afro would have been watching. And it was against London as well. Thread the needle through the ceiling. Very nicely done. He's been watching. Very nice. Very nice. There's the only spot on Berlin that you can find a kill through the roof. I mean, it's not. But I mean, that's everybody in ranked play now. I know a lot of people wouldn't have known about it, but it's a good spot to feed it down, especially when Cellium's there on the defensive back foot. The teams are going to probably be pushing through fire because you've got control over towards that side, obviously, where the trains are. And then you make the push through there from the attacking team. You know where they're going to be. Yeah, okay, 2 of them is maybe a little bit more than you were maybe expecting. But to find those 2, nicely done from Cellium there in a game for your tactical play. And he needs to perform like that, though, in map number 4. He really does, because the team are on the back foot here. They are staring down the barrel of not a very good placement heading into the major. That's not where they want to be. They want to be there in the conversation, the best possible spot they can be to be winning a major. Cellium is a 1.55 in this series. Simp with a 1.26, and they're 2-1 down, Bryce.
Yeah, they really
Katie's better than London. I don't get it.
Yeah. The slaying has been kind of great for them. Obviously, the controllers to make a severe difference to those KDs, but we are now loading into Tuscan Hardpoint in full clarity. We had a little bit of a delay. There was a little bit of an issue, but it's all fixed and all good, and we get into this hardpoint and find out how this series progresses. On board with Atlanta FaZe.
Let's see. Talked about that opening hill being so important for the side of London. And again, it's kind of like when you talk over towards P4 for FaZe over on Gavutsu. They do so well in every single time, but do you allow it to maybe be a crutch, or one that you must find points on to do successfully on this map, I wonder? It's a curiosity that we will maybe find answered heading into the rest of this map. They still have done a relatively decent job here, trading back and forth these two teams. London on the better side for their hold over towards P2, but it's going to be FaZe first in, FaZe with points on the ball.
Well, let's see how this goes. Obviously, we did talk about the Royal Ravens having a great time on Tuscan P1, but having P2, well, that's just as good. You see them trying to hold this one down, but the kill's just not going in their favor. Gizmo towards P5, this is going to be Zero towards the back, and he does hold off that first engagement as London Royal Ravens spawn in Narnia.
Yeah, that's not good. Zero winning those gunfights, though, is very well played, just holding it down as best as he can. Takes the other angle, fantastically done from Zero. On 3 there towards the back, that will just slow down the rotation here for FaZe. Ravens won't be too worried, though. That's okay, that P1 rotation, they've looked so good on it recently. Didn't look great there. They've got control of P2, they're getting good time as well. Nasty. 2 in a row from him. Afro not with the best of starts, but it's very AR oriented when it comes down to those first 2 hills, and I'm looking towards what's going to happen when FaZe get themselves in the point. Can they hold it off now? FaZe with some control towards the back.
Oh, a little bit of a challenge, 1 by 1 coming in for FaZe. Eventually go with the 2 Chow, and we'll take it down and get the scrap time here. And I think London are probably going to wait for it as well. Zero going to try and maybe get a kill on the rotation, but the rotation is going to be way more important here, Ton.
Yeah, they're really very much committing towards this, I should say. 2 and 6 about aBeZy though, but if he can find a route through, there's another one. And maybe this will look good for the side of FaZe. Josh is still there for the side of Ravens. They're pushed quite far up as well. Afro will win a gunfight, and there you go. Slow things down now. FaZe gonna have to find a route through. Good shots from Cellium, but London will be dug in by the time that Atlanta get there.
Just gonna try and make a bit of a difference as Cellium tries to do a little bit of work, and they go for the Chow, but they are just being bodied here. There's too many players from the Ravens ready for them. aBeZy going for the Chow, finds one. Knows Nasty's gonna look for it as well. Nasty eventually breaks him down, but Atlanta FaZe have it. They win the gunfight towards the back.
Big gunfights
through.
Cellium's the only one to break through. My goodness, Nasty. The first one was an Arcitys all the way over towards the back wall. Wins the second as well. Decent hold here from London, but they haven't really picked up many points. It felt like they were in control of the spawns all the time, but not a lot of actual time going over towards them.
Eventually, Afro sits in. I was going to say for 15, but doesn't matter. That's been traded out as well. A bottom mask fight. Simp is going to take it. The rotation is on. Arcitys is trying to play his life. He knows the pressure's coming towards him. Finds Gizmo and eventually gets caught sprinting by Afro.
Cellium up top. I don't know how he hasn't won that gunfight. And then you see who it is on the left-hand side. It's Afro once again. Starting to heat up a little bit. Ravens with a rotation win, I would say, over the last couple of hills. Can they make this count, though? Nasty good gunfight win. Gizmo will get taken down inside the point. Can Arcitys find anything up top? Not quite. Spawn in here, though, for the side of FaZe, so they're going to have a bit of a pinch here, but so are Ravens, them spawning out. It's going to be a bit chaotic.
Well, basically going to try and make a play here towards the back, but Gins going down by Zero and Afro. They're all making the kills. Zero with the pre-fire onto Arcitys and a little bit of a shoulder coming through, but teammates working out for them. Eventually, Cellium gets it even with the pre-fire, but London are just continually flooding out the back and making it different for FaZe. Cellium breaks through and Afro punches Simp straight in the jaw. You are right, Ton. This did get chaotic fast. The trades all coming through.
These Inco trying their best to just try and break through. Cellium goes for the challenge, doesn't find the second. Is the last gunfight going to go FaZe's way, though? It is. Arcitys will secure that final 5 seconds. It's a good gunfight win from Afro, though. aBeZy now needs to lock this down and does so. FaZe just about win that rotation, but London not yet.
That's a long cook. aBeZy throws it out. And this is where it gets difficult. They really want to try and hold down to the bottom, but Gizmo's going to get him. This does mean Atlanta FaZe is going to be in a little bit of trouble, but that comes through the flank. It's going to be Arcitys and a gunfight for Gizmo. And eventually that does allow London to break in.
40 seconds remaining here. The game all tied up. Gunfight down low, though, goes aBeZy's way. Is he going to find the second one as well? That's huge from aBeZy. Does not find the third, but Gizmo already butted up. FaZe are inside the point. London do have a couple of reinforcements here. 25 seconds remaining over towards P5. Rotation for FaZe is starting to come in over towards P1. They can lock down their scrap time as well off the back of Arcitys. That will be massive as well. Arcitys putting the shots in. Gizmo doesn't win the gunfight. Arcitys is there. Trades finally fall London's way. But for all that trading that was going on, for all that time that Arcitys stopped London getting time on the board, FaZe have had the chance to set up towards P1, but can they hold it, Pricey?
I tell you something, the trades have been unbelievable in this game so far, but here comes the pinch from London. You see Gizmo trying to stay alive, trying to put the pressure onto them, and the trades come through. Big Zero and Afro get it. Afro with 2 as well. And the pinch is perfect. They get all the way through here. Atlanta FaZe get taken out of this rotation they fought for. And it's now London in control.
Just feels like FaZe are becoming a little bit notorious for losing control of this P1 rotation when they get the first ones there, but those gunfights on the way back in are wonderful. Gizmo and Afro, the only ones who can answer back. It's a nice retake from the side of FaZe, but then Gizmo says, well, whatever you can do, I can do better. Nasty now going to take out Gizmo, and that's an unfortunate timing. Afro will find the gunfight. 20 seconds to go here on this hill. aBeZy, big kills coming through. It's 2 in a row, and that's going to be a good amount of scrap time for FaZe. 10 seconds remaining here. Rotation belongs to FaZe as well. They're in a good spot, Bryce.
Yeah, aBeZy's not actually had the greatest of series, but if he turns up here onto map number 4, it probably will be the difference, son.
They're so far away, Bryce. Look where London. Oh, the spawns towards the back, though. Nobody from FaZe there. Zero will get a little bit of fortune falling his way. It's a bit of a pinch for London here, potentially.
Oh, that's all the kills going their way.
It's worked so well.
The kill field lights up. Cellium, though, will be the little bit of a problem. Him being up top radio means they've got to look 2 different directions at one time. And he gets another kill towards platform. Cellium has just opened the door for his teammates to walk into this. And Simp says, all right, thank you very much. He's looking for Gizmo down the bottom, finds it as well. Flies out towards Plat. Obviously, nobody here, but we can see we'll have a chow in a second, and it will be Trey. Eventually going to go down. Scrap time looking towards Atlanta FaZe with the pressure coming through from London once again.
It is still there, but what Sal's just done inside of radio, staying alive as long as he can, kind of detracts away from that pressure that London were trying to put on. Gizmo will try his hardest to find a couple of kills, but it matters not. FaZe are going to have themselves about a 40-point lead. They were down heading into P1 on the second rotation of hills. Now find themselves up as we head over towards 3. Zero looking down mid-map, though. That is going to slow FaZe down en route over towards the back fountain. What's the route for FaZe, and do London read it? I like mid-map. The fight towards maps in a second is going to be important as well. Afro will win that one. We'll lock down that side for the side of the London Royal Ravens, but everybody else from London needs to win it on the other side.
Afro trying to repinch this, actually looking for the players. Is he going to see anybody? He has been hit as well. Afro coming on a lot of problem, but it doesn't matter because Gizmo's cleaning it up. However, I say that trades go back and forth. There's going to be Zero on it as well. The pre-fire comes to him to answer these, but he doesn't need it. His teammates back him up, and London continue to hold P3. FaZe have not managed to get through, and I say that, and aBeZy gets 2.
Yeah, he's reading Afro as well, but it doesn't matter sometimes. Gizmo not trying to make the push. Afro still holding on here. 17 seconds remaining. It's good time for the Ravens. Simp's gonna have a little look at it, as you so often do. Nasty should be dead to rights for this final 10 seconds. It is so fantastically done. I love that play from Simp. He's done it 2 times in a row on that hill specifically. You'll think he's rotating over towards P3, over towards Church. Nope. He's there for the final 10 seconds. Very well played. FaZe still set up. They get the final 10. Still in the lead, in control of P4.
Oh, so he's waiting for the player he knows is coming, and he sees Afro and shuts down towards the back of the church. However, the rest of the gunfight's coming through, and again it's going chaos. And Nasty gets 3, and Nasty flies into this one, and he gets shut down as well. Players flooding in again, but it's going to be London who hold it down.
All off the back of Nasty.
Church is just chaos between these 2 teams, Ton. They will not let it go.
All off the back of Nasty. That's 5 in a row now for him. Just trying to survive. The rest of the team are here as well, but it's phenomenal plays. Oh, Byron Plumridge, fantastic stuff from him. Gizmo having a good game as well. It's in a 28 and 24 force spree for him. Is he going to make it 5, 6, 7? Not quite. A really, really nice break from the side of FaZe. Off the side of London, I should say. Off the back of Nasty. 5 seconds remaining here. Heading over towards P5. What is that hip fire?
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on it. We're going into P5. At the moment, Atlanta FaZe have several players ready and stacked up for this one. Afro will have downstairs control. The nades rain in, and FaZe follow. They're looking to try and shut it down, but obviously got to be careful. A lot of pyrotechnics flying into this one. As aBeZy locks that bottom, finds the first, and Nasty gets taken down as well. The drop shot does not work, and while I say that, Afro's alive and eventually taken out. This game still rests on a knife edge. Either team could win it, but it will be FaZe who are taking the lead so far.
Yeah, they're the ones in control of this one. 30 seconds remaining on P5. London are completely surrounding it. A team kill's not going to help things out, but aBeZy is just locking downstairs as best as he can. Arcitys will trade that one back. Afro on the way through the front door, and the second one as well. Afro again. When you think London are down and out, there's just somebody that's coming in and finding a few kills and keeping them in it. It has taken clutch moments from London to find themselves still in this game, but rotation over towards P1 is looking good for FaZe this time.
Well, they have it locked in, but will they have it locked? This is the difference. London now setting up for this. They're trying to get the pinch. Keep an eye on Gizmo. He's the only player on this side of the map. London are waiting. The nades are raining through. They're waiting to execute, and now the trades come through thick and fast. It's going to be London again. It's a great time for them. Cellium going to try and hold the fort down. He finds two himself. Stuns while he's running away. Nasty taking him down, and London break.
London heartbreaking. 33 seconds remaining. They can win it here. Can they hold this down? Where's the pinch going to come in here from FaZe? The first blood's going to go their way. Nasty will trade that one out. It's everybody through middle. They're all coming through you, Bryce.
They're looking for it, and only one player left alive, trying to contest it. aBeZy in the corner, fighting for his life. Zero to aBeZy going in. aBeZy gets it, and he's staying alive. Afro goes for the chow, shuts him down. It can't be won here, though, by either team. We're off to P2. FaZe are there first, and while it will be scrap time for London, the real scrap is now coming. Here comes the pressure. London have to go.
9 points away for the side of London. They need one decent break. I think a lot of it's going to come down to Arcitys. Can he continue to lock down Radio and Church? And yes, he has. FaZe now 13-12 away. Afro will find the kill. It's got to be on this break for London.
They get the kills. They get the kills. London are piling through. Zero finds two. Afro gets another one. Gizmo's in. They're looking for it. Atlanta FaZe.
Have a chance.
Out. They have to rain the nades and they have to run. There's only a few seconds left for it, but no! The kills come in for London and they shut them down. Still flawless in this stage on Hardpoint and S&D, and they have just taken down one of the titans of the CDL. Again, FaZe have fallen. Oh my goodness. Royal Ravens are the real deal.
That was the question we were asking. We had a meeting. What is there to talk about in this game? It's whether Ravens are up there. It's a statement 3-1 win. Fantastic game from them. And I said it just felt like every single time that FaZe had a rotation locked in, it was looking like they were going to pick up good points. London find the break. It kind of feels like the beginning of the year when these breaks were coming thick and fast for the side of the London Royal Ravens. Clutch players left, right, and center. On this occasion, Gizmo was consistent throughout the rest of the map, but for me, one of the huge moments in that game was Nasty finding the three. By the way, completely on his own over towards Church. That was a massive breaking moment. It stopped FaZe from getting control. We then head into P5, back to P1. We still got a couple of hills to go, but FaZe should have been out of sight by that point. But Ravens, a never say die attitude, 250 to 240. The clutch kills come up once again, but what a game from Gizmo.
I'll tell you something else as well, Ton. Atlanta FaZe, those last two rotations they had locked in and lost them.
They're struggling on this map with it, Pricey. They really are. We've seen it at the major. How many times did they have that rotation towards P1? Oh, game's locked in. They've got it. Nope. Every single time, they just seem to collapse. I don't know what it is about their setups open towards P1, but it never seems to work out.
Yeah, it really didn't. I was looking for a difference on that game, and it doesn't really seem to be a big one. The slaying looked pretty much even, but
it was just
10 points
from London.
Yeah, that's all it was. And I'll tell you something, Tan, we've spoken an awful lot of this with the Phil, so I'm going to hand it over to the desk to break down what they thought about that game.
Dude, I don't know what to think anymore, Bryce. We're talking about back-to-back losses now against LAG and now the London Royal Ravens. But hey, flying high right now, Ali. It's gonna be who? It's gonna be the Ravens, right?
Yeah, wow. I mean, I will say we predicted it, but like it didn't go in the way that I expected it to. The fact that Atlanta FaZe lost to Search and Destroy, and it really felt kind of like a one-man army. Afro was absolutely having the entire map, and then for Atlanta FaZe's 3 of the brilliant control, it was like, whoa, okay, this is gonna be a longer series than we thought, but to close it out in that game for Tuscan, I mean, what a series, Phil.
Absolutely insane. We're taking a look at the scores right now, and Nameless, man, like we was talking about, the contenders here, man, in London are the real deal with this big win over FaZe.
Man, a couple of just sloppy plays on the side of Atlanta FaZe that London are able to capitalize on. I mean, you start in the beginning of the series, you look at the end on that P1 hill, like you need to have Alec and aBeZy in the hill right there. I think, you know, Alec needs to watch that, you know, stairs with the AR, and then aBeZy plays inside of the ring, just sort of a blunder there after having Simp go crazy to even put them into that position, and then the search and destroy moving on to that. Some of the offensive rounds, it just seemed like they weren't getting enough information. They weren't playing the trade game. Like at times you see a lot of teams go over towards Shaq, try to get some info, and then maybe wrap it towards B, play for kills. Afro was doing whatever he wanted inside of tools, which is just unacceptable. And then on that last map, they were getting broken so fast when they were set up. I mean, we saw them set up on P1 on the second rotation. They're set up, they're inside. We see Cellium mid-map. He gets the first blood, and then he sort of overplays it, doesn't really know exactly where he wants to be at, and then he dies, and they flood through mid. They end up breaking them. So, you know, it just seems like FaZe isn't really aware of what London was trying to do. They were playing on the breaks multiple times there and still getting the kills. That was a tough one, man. London are disgusting.
It was, but I'm also disgusting. It's going to be Gizmo. Gizmo, what, 3 games back with London? A few games back with London. And at that map on 33-27 to close out the series, by the way. So, aLy. Actually, no, forget the question. We actually have an interview with Gizmo, the Game Fuel Victory Spotlight. I mean, Afro. Let's jump in that first. So, aLy, since I interrupted you, you get the first question.
Oh, I get the first question. Afro, congratulations on probably one of the biggest wins in this split. Obviously, I have to ask you about the bow cage search and destroy because you guys have been lights out in majority game modes in the split, but the S&D out of you, like, were you just getting in a groove and you were just unstoppable, or is that something you expected heading into the series?
I don't know if I expected to do that well, but we knew we had to kind of like change things up because I feel like people were kind of like knowing how to play. So I thought I had to change it up a little bit, play a little bit slower. But yeah, it just ended up working out. Yeah.
Afro, that was just a crazy performance, dude. Like, you guys look ridiculous, you know, especially in the hard points, clutching up at the very end a couple of times. I want to ask you though, like, you guys have the 12th. You guys are the worst at rotating in the entire league in hard points. But you are the best hardpoint team that we have here in this stage. And I see you guys hitting scrap multiple times. Are you guys leaning into that? Do you just find more success that way? Or is that something that just naturally plays out in game for you guys?
Well, honestly, the real answer is honestly, it's Vanguard, bro. I don't know what to say to you. There's not much, there's not like much tactical things that really go into it. It's literally as simple as you get a kill, play as a team, and it's as simple as that. At least that's how we like to go ahead with it. I think people, especially in this game, like overthink a lot of things, and I think you just have to just go with it.
Fair enough.
Afro, this is just me and you right now, man. aLy and I especially have been waiting for you guys to just tear it up and beat one of these top teams. We're waiting for that in stage 1. Didn't happen, you know, a little dip off. Now you guys are back. And you guys just bodied FaZe. Hey, really?
Hey, first time in franchise history. First time in franchise history for London. So. Yeah.
Hey, let's go, man.
We've done it. We've bloody done it, boys. We've done it.
Hey, what do you got to say about this win, and also what's next heading up to the major, baby?
Yeah, unreal. So wait, you say what's heading into next major?
Yes, sir.
I didn't hear you quite.
Yeah, what should we expect heading into the next major?
Oh, right. Bro, we're just gonna fry. That's all I'm gonna say. we're all excited. We're doing well. Everybody's on the up. Like, not many issues. So yeah, it's unreal from us.
All right, congrats
we're
on the big win.
We're happy. If we're happy, we're playing good. That's the way I see it.
Hey, you should be extremely happy right now. Hey, yo, Afro, man, you have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk to you later, all right?
Have a good day.
No problem. All right, Nameless, so, man, to put a bow on top of that series right there, London over Atlanta FaZe. We're going to get into CDL points. What is your thoughts about this?
London are the real deal Holyfield, man. That's what they needed. They needed to beat Atlanta FaZe. Every time we see a team make one of these runs and do something special and get to that championship game, it's through that team. And, you know, I mean, that's about the best way that you could do it there. I mean, they have to work on their control a little bit. Everything else is looking pretty much flawless. We saw the control turtling up at times, but I think that can be fixed for sure headed into the major. London Ravens, certainly one of the favorites.
Yeah, one thing I do have to say, kind of like how we talk about Mack being the glue for Seattle Surge, I'm starting to feel the same way about Gizmo. The way we see players like Afro, Trey, and also Nasty playing this team is for real. But also, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go ahead and buy your tickets for Champs, baby, because it's coming up soon, the Galen Center. I don't know about you guys, but as a California native, I'm so excited, man.
It's gonna be lit, man. Make sure you guys get your tickets. I can't wait to be in Cali. It's always a special time, and you only got a couple of weeks until that big tournament. So first stop New York, then we're in LA for Champs. It's gonna be epic.
All right, make sure you join us for the biggest event of the year, but also it's time to whip out those phones, baby, and sign up for the official Call of Duty League newsletter and get a free gift farm calling card as well. Just scan the QR code, enter your email, and you'll also get a free code available in both Vanguard and Warzone, but you'll also get a premium CDL content and updates sent straight to your inbox. aLy, that's pretty cool.
I know that's the calling card Afro was rocking when he was in that bouquet S&D bell.
No, seriously, but hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you thought that game right there was crazy and it was so good, right? Coming Coming up next, we have the Florida Mutineers facing off against the Paris Legion. And Ali, I have a feeling that Paris might.
They gotta get one, Bell. They gotta get one.
They don't have to get one.
They gotta get one.
Hey, we want to see the Grim Reapers in the CDL. You guys are gonna catch up with them on the other side of this break as they take on Florida. But the question is Skies and Awakening feeling comfortable with this new roster? We're gonna find out in this trap game soon.